Hello Marvel, Kevin Feige, and whatever Marvel Studios team that is watching this video. I want to offer you some ideas free of charge. Ask for nothing in return. Well, actually, if I could just get invited to the premiere of your X-Men movie, that would be great. Otherwise, I ask for nothing in return for this movie script. So let's get started, shall we? The X-Men are a team of mutants. Individuals born with extraordinary powers due to a genetic mutation called the X gene. They've traditionally been led by Professor Charles Xavier as he strives to protect a world that often fears and hates them, promoting peaceful coexistence between mutants and humans. The team includes iconic members such as Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, and Wolverine, each contributing unique abilities to their mission of safeguarding humanity and mutant kind alike. This contrasts with Magneto, a mutant who believes in mutant supremacy and tries to achieve it through militant means, often leaving him in conflict with the X-Men. Most of us have come to know and love the X-Men through Fox's X-Men franchise, however it wasn't all smooth sailing for them. While there were well-received movies like X-Men Days of Future Past, there were also entries like New Mutants and X-Men Origins Wolverine that we can just say weren't well received. Despite the back and forth of these movies, many people love them either due to nostalgia or to some iconic portrayals of characters like Wolverine and Storm, as well as the sheer richness of comic storylines that this team possesses and the potential they hold. Disney realized the potential of this team and paid $71.3 billion for the acquisition of 20th Century Fox in March of 2019. This gave Disney, namely Marvel Studios, the rights to franchises like the Fantastic Four, Deadpool, and the topic of our video today, the X-Men. After we've had over 5 years now to digest this acquisition, the question now becomes, how can Marvel bring such powerhouse characters into an already established universe? We're going to answer that here today. Before we get into the actual plot of my pitch, let's take a look at my lineup for this first group of X-Men. I originally considered going with the original 5 lineup for X-Men with Iceman and Angel, but the more I thought about it, the more I think Marvel will try to capitalize on existing love for characters like Wolverine and Storm to boost their movie's reach and setting up potential spin-offs. I mean, they already added Wolverine to Deadpool and Wolverine. I also went with a more mature, middle-aged cast because Marvel has been heavy on the youth movement lately, so I thought that these new X-Men could help balance out the universe. So, for my first member, I went with Nightcrawler. A last-second addition for my version of this team, Nightcrawler was added as a comedic relief. He also adds youth, an additional multifaceted character to the team. I chose Mena Massoud because he has the charm and agility perfect for Nightcrawler. His performance in Aladdin shows he can handle the physicality, but also bring a lovable, otherworldly quality. Massoud's ability to blend humor with heartfelt moments will make Nightcrawler an endearing character for the team, so Mena Massoud is my Nightcrawler. Next, I added Beast, the lovable genius. And let's just get to it, I chose Sam Richardson. He's known for Veep and the After Party, and he can bring both intelligence and a touch of humor to Beast. He's got the warmth and depth to portray Hank McCoy effectively, and Richardson's comedic background will add a unique dimension to Beast's character, balancing his intellect with his more beastly side. That's why Sam Richardson is my Beast. The rest of these characters are all powerhouses, so there's no real build-up. So let's start with another icon of the X-Men, Storm. She's elegant, powerful, and a guiding light for the team. Jodie Turner-Smith from Queen and Slim? Yeah, she has the power and commanding presence needed for this role. She embodies Storm's strength and regal demeanor beautifully. Turner's screen presence will bring Aurora's leadership and elemental prowess to life. Jodie Turner-Smith is my Storm. Now, the first of an iconic pairing, Cyclops. While Charles Xavier is the quote-unquote leader of the team, Cyclops is the field leader of this team and has to be able to bring a presence that portrays that authority. Sam Heughan from Outlander has that strong, reliable vibe that fits Cyclops. He's got the leadership chops and can handle the action scenes with ease. Sam Heughan is my Cyclops. Now, onto his other half, Jean Grey. Samara Weaving has shown her range in Ready or Not and Guns Akimbo. She's perfect for Jean. Being able to effectively show that power while also being able to have emotional scenes with Scott Summers is vital. Weaving's ability to handle intense emotional scenes will bring Jean's eventual struggles with the Phoenix Force, motherhood, and her cloning at the hands of Mr. Sinister to life. Now, onto one of the hardest characters to fan cast because of the work that was done in Fox's X-Men franchise, Wolverine. I think this is the one fan casting that everyone always looks for. No matter who is cast in this role, they will always be compared to Hugh Jackman. We need an actor who can grow into his own and become just as iconic as Jackman. Milo Gibson has that rugged look and intensity seen in Hacksaw Ridge and All the Devil's Men, he being the gruff, broody energy needed for Wolverine. Gibson's ability to convey Logan's deep-seated anger and vulnerability will make him a compelling addition to the X-Men. Milo Gibson is my Wolverine. Now onto the leader of the X-Men, Professor X. Ralph Fiennes has the authoritative yet calming presence that's perfect for Professor X. With his roles in Harry Potter and the Grand Budapest Hotel, as well as numerous blockbusters, he has brought both depth and gravitas to his roles. That is exactly what Charles Xavier needs. His ability to portray a wise and empathetic leader will anchor this team, but also we have to think a lot about the hypocritical nature of Professor X, and sometimes when we're like, is Professor X actually the bad guy? And Ralph Fiennes, he can portray that perfectly. So Ralph Fiennes is my Charles Xavier. Onto the counterpart of Professor X, Magneto. Why not go back to the Harry Potter well for Professor X's friend and foe, Magneto? Jason Isaacs would nail this role. His work in the aforementioned Harry Potter, as well as the OA, shows he can play a complex, morally great character with intensity and nuance, making him ideal for Eric. Isaacs' ability to convey Magneto's tragic backstory and fierce determination will bring depth to a character that should be as conflicting to root for as Killmonger was. Jason Isaacs is my Magneto. There are 2 additional characters I would like to add to this film. One of these is an additional protagonist in the name of Kamala Khan. She will serve as our bridge between the X-Men and the current MCU landscape. She has already been teased as a mutant, and there's enough ambiguity around her life during the snap to make her origin relate to the way I'm explaining the X gene in this plot. I also think that Iman Vellani is one of the best new additions to the MCU, so I will always take the chance to add her into any project. And of course, we cannot have a movie without a villain. So, the last of my fan castings is that villain, Mr. Sinister. Luke Evans brings a captivating intensity and dark charisma to the role of Mr. Sinister. His performance in Dracula Untold and The Alienist show that Evans has the ability to portray a villain with complex motivations and a chilling presence. His refined, almost high-class, yet menacing demeanor makes him an ideal fit for the brilliant and twisted Genesis Nathaniel Essex, adding depth, gravitas, and elegance to the character's obsession with genetic perfection. Luke Evans is my Sinister. Now on to my pitch. While it is not the most complete pitch, it will not be a full movie, we do get pretty in-depth, so sit back, listen, and enjoy. Act 1. The Awakening. Fade in. Space. The vast expanse of space twinkles with stars, serene and tranquil. Suddenly, a surge of energy ripples throughout the cosmos, originating from Earth. Cut to New York City. The city bustles with life as people go about their daily routines. Suddenly, chaos erupts as individuals reappear out of thin air, some of their bodies instantly undergoing strange transformations. News reports flood the airways, dubbing these individuals mutants, and sparking fear and confusion worldwide. Inside Charles Xavier's family mansion, Charles and Eric sense the surge of mutant powers and realize the need to protect and guide these individuals. Professor X. The world has changed once again. We must prepare for what comes next. The Alaskan Wilderness. Scott Summers stumbles through the rugged terrain of the Alaskan wilderness. His eyes are covered by a red bandana, concealing the uncontrollable optic blasts that emanate from his eyes. Trees splinter and rocks shatter as his powers surge out of control. He hears footsteps approach him. Scott, stay back! I don't know what's happening. He takes cover behind a fallen tree, his heart pounding with fear and confusion. Leaning against the rough bark, he struggles to control his breathing, his mind racing with questions about his newfound abilities. What am I? What's wrong with me? Suddenly, he hears a voice calling out to him from the edge of a nearby clearing. Scott, it's okay. You're not alone. Scott looks up to see Professor X and Magneto approaching him, a reassuring smile on their faces. You're a mutant, Scott, and you're not the only one. Come with me, and I'll help you understand. Cut to New Orleans. Jean Grey wanders through the vibrant streets of New Orleans, her mind overwhelmed with confusing thoughts and emotions. Suddenly, she feels a surge of telekinetic energy building within her, causing objects around her to levitate and swirl in the air. What's happening to me? Passersby stop and stare in shock as Jean's powers manifest uncontrollably, creating chaos around her. She struggles to contain the energy, her hands trembling with fear. Please make it stop. Just as the situation threatens to spiral out of control, a calming presence washes over Jean. She turns to see Professor X and Magneto approaching her with a reassuring smile. Jean, it's all right. You're not alone. I can help you. Hank McCoy walks through the bustling streets of Chicago, his hands clenched tightly as he struggles to contain the physical changes overtaking his body. His senses are heightened, his muscles bulging beneath his clothes as he fights to suppress the beast within. I can't control it. People around him stare in shock as his body contorts and shifts, his hands transforming into massive fur-covered claws. Hank's heart races with fear as he realizes the danger he poses to those around him. People crowd around him and take their phones out to film him, Somebody help me! Suddenly a voice cuts through the chaos, calm and reassuring. Professor X. That's enough. He parts the crowd. Hank, it's alright. We got you. Hank turns to see Professor X and Magneto approaching him, comforting presence amidst the chaos of the city. Professor X. Come with me, Hank. I can help you understand what's happening to you. Cairo. Aurora stands in the midst of a sudden sandstorm that rages through the streets of Cairo. Sand swirls around her, whipped by fierce winds that seem to obey her unspoken commands. How am I doing this? Passerby stop and stare in awe as Aurora's powers manifest, creating a spectacle of nature in the heart of the city. She struggles to understand the source of her abilities, her mind racing with questions. What am I? Suddenly, a calm voice cuts through the storm, gentle and reassuring. Aurora, it's alright. You're not alone. She turns to see Professor X and Magneto approaching her, once again offering that comforting presence amidst the chaos of changing into a mutant. Come with me, Aurora. I can help you understand what's happening to you. Canadian wilderness. In the remote wilderness of Canada, Logan clenches his fists tightly as his bone claws extend uncontrollably from his knuckles. His senses are overwhelmed by the harsh cold and the sounds of the wild, urging him to flee from his unfamiliar surroundings. What the hell's happening to me? His senses detect movement in the darkness, and he instinctively lunges forward, his claws slashing through the air. A startled bear retreats. Suddenly, a voice breaks through the chaos, calm and authoritative. Logan, listen to me. You're not a monster, you're a mutant. Logan turns to see Professor X approaching him, alone this time, his wheelchair rolling silently across the snow. Come with me, Logan. There's others like you. We have a home for you. The Bravian Forest. We find Kurt wandering through the forest, his mind consumed by confusion and fear. His surroundings blur as if walking in a dream, his senses overwhelmed by the strange sensations coursing through his body. He stumbles, clutching his head, as a surge of energy pulses through him. Suddenly, with a deafening roar, reality itself seems to warp and twist around him. He cries out in terror as he finds himself in a place that defies all logic and reason, a vortex of light and shadow. However, just as quickly as it began, the chaos subsides, leaving Kurt standing in a soft, ethereal glow. He blinks in confusion, his eyes widen in awe as he takes in his surroundings. Professor X. Kurt, can you hear me? Kurt whirls around, his heart pounding in his chest. He looks around until a figure appears in front of him, a man with gentle eyes and a serene smile. Kurt trembles in fear as he speaks. Who are you? My name is Charles Xavier. I've been searching for you, Kurt. I know this must all be very confusing, but I'm just trying to help you. He extends a hand, and his expression is warm and reassuring. Kurt hesitates for a moment, then tentatively reaches out, his fingers touching Professor X's own. I don't know what's happening. What's happening? What's happening to my body? You're undergoing a profound transformation, Kurt. The energy released by the snap and the blip has triggered the activation of your mutant abilities. A gift that sets you apart from the rest of humanity. Mutant abilities? Yes, Kurt. You possess incredible powers. Powers that make you unique, even among other mutants. With those powers comes great responsibility. You have a choice to make, Kurt. A choice to embrace who you are and to use your abilities for the greater good. You don't have to face this alone, Kurt. There's more of you. My friend and I, we've had our powers for a while. We thought we were the only ones. But there's so many special students just like you who are just now discovering their gifts. I can help you navigate this new world to find your place amongst those who share your gifts and your struggles. Together we can forge a path forward, one of understanding, acceptance, and hope. Kurt nods slowly, a sense of determination rising within him. He doesn't really understand what's happening, but now he knows one thing. He is not alone. Together, Professor X and Kurt step into the unknown, ready to face the challenges of mutanthood together. Act 2. A New World. Xavier Institute Classroom. Professor X addresses a group of young mutants, explaining their newfound abilities and the importance of controlling them. Cut to training room. The mutants undergo rigorous training under the guidance of both Professor X, but more namely Magneto, takes a heavy hand in guiding them to understanding their powers and accepting and loving them. Here they hone their powers and learn to work as a team. Jersey City. Kamala Khan fights off street-level crime across Jersey City with relative ease. However, in the background, there was always someone lurking in the shadows. As Kamala heads home after one mission, we see a black cape float into the wind as the shadow leaves the scene. Cut to Mr. Sinister's laboratory. Mr. Sinister, a figure cloaked in shadows. He becomes obsessed with capturing Kamala Khan to experiment on her unique genetic profile. He declares that the hybrid of her inhuman and mutant DNA could be the key to creating the most advanced specimen ever. He watches Kamala inside her home from a screen illuminating the dark room around him. X Mansion. Professor X and Magneto sit in front of a computer as Nightcrawler shows them videos of Miss Marvel, including her videos on Sloth Baby Productions. This is who you've been looking for? Are you sure? Yes, it is most definitely her. I can sense it within her. She is unique. Back to Jersey City. Kamala walks alone through the dimly lit streets of Jersey City, her thoughts consumed by uncertainty and fear. Suddenly, she senses a presence lurking in the shadows and tenses, ready for whatever danger may come. Who's there? A figure steps out from the darkness, clad in a black cloak that billows ominously in the night breeze. Kamala's eyes widen in dread. Mr. Sinister smiles wickedly, his gaze fixed on Kamala with unnerving intensity. Hello, my dear. You, Kamala Khan, don't know how special you are. You see, you are the key to unlocking a new era of genetic superiority. Come with me willingly, and perhaps your transition will be less painful. Kamala clenches her fists, readying herself despite the fear that overwhelms her. Listen, man, I don't know if you're like Darth Vader or something, but I'm an Avenger. I'm not going with you. Before Mr. Sinister can respond, a bolt of energy streaks through the air, landing between Kamala and Mr. Sinister, striking the ground between them. She turns to see the X-Men behind her, ready for battle. Cyclops. You heard her, Sinister. She's not going anywhere. As the standoff intensifies, Kamala braces herself for the fight of her life. The fight begins with Sinister. He smiles as some of his early versions of the Marauders emerge from the shadows, ready to provide backup for him. An intense battle ensues, and Sinister makes it out victorious, taking Kamala with him. The team is left bloody and bruised, and they can only watch Kamala be carried away, and they are forced to flee as the Marauders close in on them. Mr. Sinister's laboratory. The laboratory is a dimly lit chamber filled with futuristic equipment and pulsating lights. In the center of the room, Kamala Khan lies unconscious on an operating table. Restrained by metallic restraints, Mr. Sinister stands over her, a smile playing on his lips. He adjusts his glasses with a gloved hand as he examines a holographic display showing Kamala's genetic makeup. Such potential, Miss Khan. Your genetic structure is such a masterpiece waiting to be unlocked. With a flick of his fingers, Mr. Sinister activates a series of machines, emanating a low, ominous hum. The room is bathed in an eerie glow as the equipment comes to life. He cracks his fingers. Let us begin. The machines scan Kamala's body. Her form shimmers as genetic manipulation begins. Her mutant genes awakening even more under Mr. Sinister's control. Kamala stirs, her eyes fluttering open as she feels the invasive energy coursing through her veins. Panic flashes across her face as she struggles against her restraints. What are you doing to me? Mr. Sinister steps closer, his eyes alight with a fanatical gleam. Embrace it, Miss Khan. Embrace the power that lies dormant within you. With my guidance, you'll become something greater than you ever imagined. Kamala's form begins to convulse, her body racked with pain. She cries out in agony, her voice echoing off the cold metallic walls of the laboratory. Stop! Please stop. But Mr. Sinister pays her no heed, his focus solely on his experiment. With each passing moment, Kamala's powers surge and grow, transforming her into a weapon of unimaginable potential. The laboratory is filled with a cacophony of buzzing machinery and Kamala's anguished screams. Act 3. The Rescue. X-Mansion. The X-Men gather around, their expressions a mix of determination and concern. Cyclops. We underestimated Sinister. It's cost us dearly. Beast is clearly tempered by a fierce resolve. Speaks up. Agreed. But dwelling on past mistakes won't aid us now. We must focus on the task at hand. Jean Grey nods in agreement. Hank's right. We need to regroup, assess, and come up with a new plan of attack. Nightcrawler steps forward. And we mustn't forget about Kamala. She's counting on us. Storm reassures him. Indeed. Saving Kamala is our top priority. Magneto addresses the whole room. Sinister will pay for what he's done. We will rescue the girl, and Sinister will no longer be a problem. Professor X provides a calm voice. Let us use this defeat as motivation. Together, we will save Kamala and ensure that Sinister's tyranny come to an end. Mr. Sinister's lair pulses with malevolent energy. The air thick with anticipation as the X-Men stand ready for their final showdown. Sinister walks out, flanked by his new genetically enhanced minions. He gazes upon the X-Men with a smirk. Ah, the X-Men. So predictable in your futile attempts to defy me. Cyclops steps forward, a new visor glowing with contained power. We're done playing your game, Sinister. Release Kamala, surrender peacefully, or face the consequences. Wolverine snarls. Yeah, bub. And trust me, you don't want to face the consequences. Sinister laughs, his eyes alight with sadistic glee. Oh, as tempting as that is, I'm afraid it's too late for negotiations. Kamala serves a greater purpose now, one that you cannot comprehend. Out from the shadows emerges Kamala, her eyes glowing with an otherworldly power. She stands beside Sinister, a willing participant in his schemes. Kamala, her voice tinged with darkness. I serve no one but myself now. With Sinister's help, I've unlocked my true potential. Storm summons a tempest of wind, her voice echoing with command. X-Men, attack! The X-Men spring into action, launching themselves at Sinister and his minions. Cyclops unleashes a barrage of optic blasts, while Wolverine slashes through the enemy ranks with unmatched fury. As the battle rages on, Kamala's resolve begins to waver, highlighted by a moment with Nightcrawler. He reaches out to her, and he tries to get her to remember who she is. Kamala, I know you're stronger than this. I know you can do this. He begins to remind her of her videos, and talks to her all about Captain Marvel. Memories from the Marvels flash in her mind, breaking through the darkness that has consumed her. Kamala, no. This isn't who I am. Sensing a breakthrough, Professor X reaches out with his telepathy, offering her a lifeline. You have the strength to break free from Sinister's control. Remember who you are. More montages play. Flashes with Kamala's family, and moments from Miss Marvel. Kamala hesitates, her eyes flickering with uncertainty, but with a sudden surge of willpower, she breaks free from Sinister's influence. Her powers erupting in a dazzling display of light. I won't let you control me anymore, Sinister. The X-Men and Kamala unleash a devastating assault on Sinister and his minions, overwhelming them with sheer force and determination. Sinister tries to flee, but Wolverine is quick to pursue him. Not so fast, bub. With a mighty roar, Wolverine tackles Sinister to the ground, delivering a final blow that sends him sprawling. Stay down. As Sinister lies defeated, the X-Men gather around Kamala, offering her their support and encouragement. Welcome back, Kamala. Kamala smiles gratefully, her eyes shining with new resolve. X-Mansion. The first light of dawn breaks over the horizon, bathing the X-Mansion in a warm golden glow. The X-Men stand together on the steps of the mansion, their faces illuminated by the rising sun. There's a sense of hope and renewal in the air. Cyclops. We've been through a lot together, but we've emerged stronger than ever. Wolverine grunts in agreement, a rare smile gracing his rugged features. Damn right. Jean Grey steps forward, her voice filled with gratitude. I want to thank each and every one of you for never giving up and for standing together when we knew so little about each other. I'm happy to be a mutant. With the final nod of unity, the X-Men turn and enter the mansion, their spirits lifted and their hearts filled with hope for the future. In a post-credit scene, we will show Kamala's reunion with her family. Her mom and dad scolding her for being out so late and asking where she's been. In a second post-credit scene, we would see Mr. Sinister in his lair, destroyed by the battle. We also see the blood that the X-Men left behind, and Mr. Sinister capturing numerous bottles of it. He smiles as he gets to work on his next experiment. So there you have it. That's my pitch for the MCU's X-Men, Kevin Feige. I really hope you liked it. But everyone else, if you watched this video, I just want to know, do you agree, disagree? Let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys for my next pitch. Peace out.